All right, we'll call the Civil Service Commission meeting for Wednesday, January 12th, 2022 to order at 8:32 a.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jassy?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Neese?
Here. On approval of the minutes, I want to make one correction to the minutes of December 1st. Under approval of minutes motion, Mr. Taylor moved the minutes be approved. Mr. Gisani seconded the motion.
I see. Okay.
Commission, you have a chance to look over the minutes. Do you have any corrections, omissions, or additions to the minutes?
No, I'm fine. No.
Do I have a motion?
Move we accept the minutes from the Thursday, December 1st, 2021 meeting.
As amended.
As amended.
With the change, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Jassy?
Yes. Minutes stand passed as amended. We don't have no public participation from what I see. Getting into old business. Pretty clear we have no old business. Now we'll get into new business. Mr. Brown, lateral hiring.
Good morning again, Commission, and Happy New Year. We want to just begin to have the discussion in regards to lateral hiring for the city. Chief Mason is going to talk a little bit about our entrance exam and where we stand with our police officers. And so we're just trying to add as many tools to the box as we possibly can to get good officers, and this will be stretched across our patrol, even if Chief Morgan decides to use laterals at some point, as well as our dispatcher. So we just wanted to begin to have that conversation, not necessarily today, but to get the commission's okay to start having that conversation, even inviting to the table if necessary for any ideas or thoughts that you may have on a lateral process being entered into for the city. So again, just starting to think about it, have the conversation, and again, wanting to keep the commission in the loop of everything in regards to what's going on with our hiring. So just to put it on your radar, that we'll be scheduling a meeting to kind of talk through what that looks like. Again, we would more than likely also have to invite the union or have union input in regards to that as well, and just coming up with a process in regards to that. But we will more than likely be moving a little moving quickly on what that will look like, and we want to just have the commission involved in that conversation.
Chief Mason?
Yes, sir.
Isn't there some language about lateral hiring right now for new officers in the contract?
I'm not sure that there's any in our current agreement. I started to look through it. Again, this is, as Mr. Brown said, this is new for me. I'm not sure where it lies as far as language in regards to union, civil service, the city in general. So I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think there's anything that addresses it specifically in our current bargaining agreement.
No, and if I could, there's the biggest hurdle we have to overcome would obviously be seniority. You bring somebody in new to Twinsburg, they have 10 years, some other municipality, they come here, where are they at in seniority?
Right.
And that's the biggest concern that we'd have to sit down with the union and hammer out, I think.
I know from my yesteryears, it mainly affected pay grades. It didn't really affect the seniority as far as for promotions and or advancement. It was, like I say, that was before unions too.
Right.
It was the pay grades that might have helped that lateral move. So it would be interesting to see what you come up with and present to us, because it definitely is a factor with regards to losing new hires to other departments because they incentively attract them. Okay, anything else from the commission?
When you say, excuse me, Dave, when you say seniority, you mean for like vacation or, you have a French benefit?
Well, where does that new employee come in at? If they, if they're moving in like, we can slot them in, I think, at a pay grade because it affects them. But when you slot them in a seniority, it affects current employees because now they have somebody else above them, whether it's, we have certain language in the contract that if you have a certain level of seniority, you get to pick your shift, day shift, night shift. And other selection, it does have an impact, and now all of a sudden you have somebody slotted in front of you. That's obviously going to be something that we're going to have to sit down with the union and figure that out.
Okay, well, you might as well continue on, Dave. Under miscellaneous.
Oh,
Do we have any new business? Chief Morgan, do you have anything under new business? No?
Mike will take care of them.
Okay. All right. Well, Dave, go ahead.
okay, I think everybody knows at this point, next week is my last week here in the city, next Friday is my last day. The city has moved forward. They've selected and hired Matt Dezana, who's sitting over there next to Shannon. Matt comes to the city as a new law director. He's got 10 plus years of municipal law experience. He's been a prosecutor, he's been a law director, assistant law director, and a law director for both Streetsboro and Hudson. So he's familiar with the mechanics of civil service. He's familiar with collective bargaining agreements and that whole process. Welcome, Matt. I think he'll be a great, smooth transition from me to him with the city. So just wanted to have him here today and introduce him to the commission.
Good. Well, welcome aboard, Matt. Is it an open door then to visit you out west? All lodging included, food?
Sure.
Okay.
I wish you the best, Dave.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, Chief Mason, I guess you're up with the update on the police hiring.
And just to touch on the discussion about the laterals, part of the concern for that is well, all right, as far as the new hire goes, this kind of goes hand in hand with that. So as everyone is aware, we're all there. We had a initial list of 66. By the time that was done, the physical agility, people not showing, people removing themselves for various reasons. Our final list was 25 people, as was certified by the committee. We are down to, essentially there's 6 people left, still in play, if you will, on that list. The other 19 have been eliminated. Either they've removed themselves, they've taken a position with another department, they failed a portion of the background, something to that effect. So there are 5 right now that are actively in the process, various stages of the process. One as far as about 2, if he hasn't already been made a conditional offer. Others are set for either polygraph interview or panel interview. So out of that 25, we're down to essentially 6, 5 realistically. So that in turn led to discussion about what to do next. And again, lateral has come up quite a bit. I would never look to get away from giving our own tests, but I think lateral is something that we have to look at. Everybody around us, literally every other department around us is going to this. So it's not something that I want to obviously just jump into, as Mr. Brown said. It's something that we're in a discussion with all parties involved and affected. And I told him that I would start to inquire with admin from the surrounding departments that do it as to what their policy is, what their practices are. So it's something that I think we need to look at. It's a way of getting somebody who obviously already has their officer certification, their WADA certification, and a little bit of police experience. Again, we wouldn't look to lower our standards. We wouldn't look to lower our vetting process standards as far as that goes. I think much of that would be the same. So, as Mr. Brown said, it's just something to more or less bring to the table that it's something we would like to start to look into. And a big part of that is because of something like this. You know, this list really isn't that old, and with the recent transition we had down there, the detectives were starting the backgrounds now with Detective Sergeant Ternosky in place. After Sergeant Bremner retired, he's got them really going on this because time is of the essence. You know, it's not our friend when it comes to these lists. So we're going through it as quick as we can. And unfortunately, we're paring it down quick.
Now, how many are you looking to hire, since you really only have 6 people left? What's the number you're hoping for?
Ideally, I'd like 5 right off the bat with what we're down now and the anticipated retirement we have coming up.
Do those 5 have a DOPATA certificate already? So that means they're gonna have to go through that. So you're probably looking at least end of this year, early of 23.
Yeah, and the problem we have is it's not like back in the day. You go to the academy, and once they opened up an open enrollment, which meant you could put yourself through it, you were pretty much given a state test right at the completion of that academy. Our most recent hire, Officer Bartulovic, I believe it was 3 months. She had to wait to take the state test from the time she completed the academy. The state doesn't come out to every academy like they used to give tests. They have certain testing dates. They don't really deviate from that. So, right, the fact that there's less academies, you know, if we are going to send a candidate to the academy, there's less academies out there now. Kent just suspended their spring academy. That's that's an academy we've used quite a bit the last few years. They just suspended their spring academy, so there's increasingly less academies. When someone does graduate, you don't know how long it's going to be till they can take their state certification test. And then on top of that, they need to go through our FDO process, which best case scenario is 14 weeks. If they do well once they get into that. So yeah, we could legitimately be looking at fall before we have some people ready to go. Some of these candidates do, I'm sorry, Joe, some of them do have, well, they are in the academy now. Nobody I'm aware of has their certification already.
And Mr. Maestros, with the expiration of this list being pretty obvious, is there anything, I don't want to waste time looking it up right now, that would prevent us from having another test given for patrol?
No, I mean, if the list is exhausted before it's time, I mean, we don't have an active list, you can make that.
You could make that decision that, you know, depending on this lateral procedure works out, yeah, don't rush into the lateral. If it requires to give another test, I'm sure the commission will discuss it amongst us and say, well, we're going to have to give another test and see what happens.
Sure.
So, yeah, just
The problem lies in the timeline. You know, once you decide to give a test, you need a period of time to advertise it. You want to recruit as much as you can leading up to it, advertise it. And the issue we've run into in the past is you get much of the same names. We could give a test next week, and it could be very similar to the list we just went through. A lot of the same candidates end up back on the same list because they will take the test again. So,
that's something we need to think about, because it may not even hurt to give another test to establish a list, regardless if it is the same names. Maybe, you know, maybe we'll see some change, but yeah, depending on the lateral procedure we go through, it may or may not work for this city.
yeah, and I think it would just be an option. I wouldn't look to take one over the other. I'd like to have both. Both as an available option.
Okay. Any questions from the commission for Chief Mason?
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chief. Did you promote lieutenant?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. That's, since you brought it up, I'll go there. The problem is right now, between the staffing level we're at right now, I can't proceed with any more promotions. I still would like to bring up the lieutenants and in turn bring up a few more sergeants. However, I don't have a patrol rank to pull from until we make some hires.
Great.
So,
Okay, I guess, Mr. Brown, you're going to speak on the lieutenant's, on the fire department's exam?
Yes, so the commission voted to allow us to move forward with a lieutenant exam per the contract for our fire department. We are ready to post that information on today. We are looking at a scheduled date of Wednesday, February the 16th. Again, this will be ran much like the police sergeant promotional exam. So the commission will proctor the exam here in council chambers. We will have registration start at 8:45, again, much like we did for the police sergeant out in the hallway, where everyone will be able to check their seniority date and everything, so we can make sure we have everything clear and concise moving forward. So this was just to acknowledge that we are ready to schedule that date, and hopefully the commission is available on that date. If not, we will need to know that information so that we can make adjustments, because the commission is proctoring this exam.
1/6,
1/6, yes.
February 1/6.
February 1/6.
I can tell you now I'm available, so call Mr. Taylor here.
February.
Thank you.
1/6.
Good Sunday.
Oh, are you okay?
No, that's a Wednesday.
It's a win.
That's a Wednesday. So it'll be the Wednesday after our normal scheduled commission meeting. So we have commission meeting on, oh no, we actually don't have it because we still don't.
No.
So yeah,
No,
that'll
no,
be
no.
6
Every other, well, unless
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah, that's-
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Kind of close to the
We also wanted to make it that week because I guess previously when we scheduled the exam, it was during the week of that President's holiday. So we're trying to steer away from that, so we're trying to get in here before then, so.
Chief Morgan, what would be the approximate number of personnel taking this exam? Do you have an idea?
I believe there are 12 eligible.
12 eligible? Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Brown or Mr. Morgan, or Chief Morgan?
Mr. Simon, also just want to let you know that according to the posting, applications will be submitted to Sandy by Wednesday, January 30th at 4:30. So Sandy will control the application process as secretary for the commission, and then let me know who is applying for the position so we can have the test books ordered. We also will have test books ordered for the commission as well.
Anything else from the floor? Go back to our normal scheduled meetings. They get in and get out. All right, seeing no further business, our next meeting is going to be on March 9th. That's Wednesday, 2022, 8:30 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
That's second.
Roll.
I'm sorry, who is
All.
Paul?
And
Okay. Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Chesney?
Yes. Meeting adjourned at 8:50 a.m.